There's a lot of things in the modern world that keep us numb, that keep us dull, that keep us disconnected from ourselves. And in this video, I kind of want to share some information on this just so that you're able to guard yourself against these forces, learn to set boundaries with them, and just inquire into ways in which that you sabotage yourself and perpetuate your own personal cycle of unnecessary suffering. So it's become the norm to actually be very disconnected and numb, disembodied, disassociated. And some of the things that lead to this, only a few, not everything, are sedentary lifestyles, the junk food that we eat, technology addiction, high screen time, for example. Essentially, we're disconnected from our actual experience. We're disconnected from our body, from our authenticity. We're disconnected from the present moment. We're looking for ways to avoid, escape, deny, repress, hide. We're looking for ways that allow us to escape confronting reality head on. Whether that's a part of you that you don't like to see, a feeling that you don't like to experience, a truth that needs to be shared in your relationship, something about your career, etc. Something that needs to actually be addressed with your full presence and attention, with your full self and your full awareness. We look for ways to just avoid these difficult things, and as we kind of build up that pattern of avoidance, this leads to a very numb, dull, and quite a depressing existence. So trauma, essentially psychological and emotional wounding, disconnects us from the body. We don't want to feel the emotional consequences that, happen as we live life. We don't want to feel our pain, so we numb ourselves. And all this wounding is essentially stored in the body. If I were to ask you right now to actually look into your body and just notice what your state is. Is it tense in any areas? Like, are your shoulders raised and they're held there? Is your gut tensed? Is your heart kind of contracted and numb and dull? Maybe you don't really feel into it very much. Maybe you think that when people say you need to connect to your heart more, maybe you think that's just hippy-dippy garbage, right? So essentially, trauma disconnects us from the body. And in order to actually heal, in order to actually stop being so numb to life, it's essential that we actually reconnect to the body, this being one of the most fundamental things that we can actually do. So disconnection from the body is actually the norm nowadays. You don't really hear people talking about being in the body. It's never taught in school. It's not on the media. It's not really too much on social media. And when everyone around you is numb, distracted, and disassociated, you don't really realize that anything is wrong. And the moment you try and challenge the status quo, there's usually pushback. People will project their own pain onto you. They'll project their discomfort when it comes to challenging the status quo. They'll project that onto you. Not everyone, but that will actually happen quite often. And it's important to just kind of recognize this dynamic of kind of mistaking sickness for well-being, right? Just by kind of normalizing it, not really recognizing the sickness because you're just so used to it. So many people live entirely in their minds, just kind of in this thought space. And again, this is also normalized. So we're always analyzing, we're planning, we're kind of reacting while being completely unaware of what we're feeling, sensing, or needing on a physical level, on a psychological level, on an emotional level. And a lot of the thinking that we do is, number one, unnecessary. And it's done out of a lot of anxiety. It's done out of this kind of defensive mechanism to avoid feeling, where instead of actually feeling our feeling, being in the body, we kind of jump into the head and start thinking and constructing stories that actually prevent us from fully being present, from fully being grounded, from fully being in tune with ourselves. And you have to integrate both. You have to integrate the mind and the body. You have to integrate thought and feeling. But of course, we're kind of tipped on one side of the spectrum, and this video is basically a call to bring it back into balance and to feel how good that actually feels, how genuine that actually feels, how healthy that actually feels, and to recognize how much more authentic that actually makes you. So a lot of our analyzing, planning is done out of fear. It's actually not needed in a lot of cases. and are reacting. When we're not in tune with our body, it's easy to just get very reactive, because essentially reactivity is coming from a feeling that I don't want to feel, a part of me that I don't want to look at, a fear that I don't want to feel or examine. Or maybe I'm ashamed of a particular need, and then I don't want to feel that shame, so instead I get angry and I lash out. Essentially, it's all kind of the same thing. There's something that I want to avoid. This is the core of reactivity. There's something true that I don't really want to look at. I don't want to feel it. I don't want to integrate it. This pulls us to kind of just act like a bunch of threatened chimpanzees. So numbness becomes a coping mechanism. It's a way to avoid discomfort. It's a way to avoid our unprocessed emotional wounding, trauma, right? Things like overstimulation. All this kind of just leads to not being able to see deeply into our own experience, into who and what we are, into ourselves. Not being able to feel deeply into the body. And of course, all this numbness is also a way that we avoid the overwhelm of modern life. And of course, there is a lot of mental demands in modern life. It's not an easy thing, of course. And our numbing is a way that we get away from learning how to balance it all, from really feeling our humanness, from feeling the pain of a lot of the sickness of our society. The numbness is a way that we avoid our own needs, feeling into them, making the necessary changes. It's a way that we just kind of remain in our comfort zone, even though our comfort zone is sickening. Our culture rewards productivity and performance over presence, leading us to actually ignore our body signals until they become symptoms or illness. Our society doesn't really reward deep presence. Not in a very traditional way, it doesn't. But in unconventional ways, it does. And it's definitely an asset rather than a liability. And our culture essentially just kind of rewards doing over being. Work over rest. Right? This is kind of just what we value, to the point of dysfunction, to the point of sickness. And of course, that leads a lot of us to live in fear. If I'm not doing something, there's something wrong. If I have to do something to finally feel okay. Will I ever have enough money? Right? These are things that live within practically like almost everyone in our capitalist society. So this leads us to deeply ignore our body signals. Essentially, we have a genuine signal from our body, and we learn to override it again and again and again and again, to the point where people don't even know what it feels like to be authentic. People we've just normalized overriding our internal signals in favor of some kind of external conditioning that we've kind of received. And of course, that does not feel very good at all. So disembodiment is also profitable. Junk foods, screens, right, creating very addicting algorithms, pharmaceuticals, right, social media, all this stuff. It all capitalizes on our sense of separateness, on our sense of isolation. It all capitalizes on our numbing, our separation from our own intuition, our disconnection from our body. Our low impulse control, our reactivity, our inability to regulate ourselves emotionally, inability to just process emotionally. All that capitalizes on your dysfunction and my dysfunction. And of course, any system that keeps something like that in any system that doesn't fix that is going to lead to just more dysfunction. It's just going to be a cycle of dysfunction. And I know that can be quite depressing for a lot of you, but I want you to just remember that everything I'm saying in this video is, number one, just one perspective. It's not the absolute truth of life, and there's just always more to life, and humanity is on its own journey. Right? As a species, we're kind of like a toddler, right? Like our species is not very evolved yet. We think we're way more intelligent than we actually are. We're quite narcissistic for the most part as a whole. We think humanity is just the best. We're the most intelligent. We're so smart. We're so amazing. But we have a long way to go as a species. And a lot of us don't really like to see that. So again, if you're kind of using this information to just feed into a pre-existing depressing narrative that you have, just try not to fall into that trap. Many people have never truly experienced being in their bodies. And I'll actually give you a little bit of a personal experience of mine. So it wasn't until my first meditation retreat that I had this awakening. I had this deep enlightenment to the nature of self, mind, consciousness, reality, blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't until then that I realized, holy shit, my body, it's so intelligent. It's like the very essence of existence is speaking to me through my body. My intuition comes through my body. All these tensions and contractions, these are all wounds and traumas that I have to heal, and then I can actually open myself up and kind of clean off my perception of life and start to see it more accurately. I can open myself up to experience and not suffer so much. So I went on a journey to do that. And again, this was a meditation retreat where we're meditating for many, many, many hours per day, like a third to around half of the day, 8 to 12 hours. So there's ways to obviously do it much faster than that, although meditation retreats are really important. But again, it's intentional. It's like the person has to want to do it. Number one, most people don't even know this exists. Number two, once they do, it's like, how do I even do this now? Right? So this is really important to actually look into. And I promise you, the more you practice it, the more you look into, let's say, somatic psychology, somatic experiencing, somatic internal family systems, mindfulness meditation, learning to feel into your body, you will recognize very fast the value of it. So essentially, a lot of people never truly experience being in their bodies as well because the pace of our society is always very rushed. It's got to be very fast. Slow is bad, fast is good. That's kind of like this underlying assumption that we have. If we all go faster, then we'll get what we want faster, and then we'll finally be okay. It's kind of this illusion. There's a lot of noise. There's a lot of overstimulation, right? I want to stop at noise for a second. There's a lot of noise in all sorts of ways. Literally, it's loud in a lot of the cities, and it's not conducive to an ability to reflect or just be in solitude and just quiet and focus, but also just the noise on the internet. The bullshit ideologies that are just rampant on the internet. They're just like, people say all sorts of garbage. They have no idea what they're talking about. They don't research it. And yet they have a ridiculous amount of followers. And as we kind of get conditioned by various beliefs, or as I'm just going to say noise, this can be very disconnecting as well. This can kind of condition us against our own interests. So this all kind of leaves us in, the pace, the noise, the overstimulation, keeps us in this sort of unregulated state where our nervous system's in fight, flight, freeze. We don't know how to truly relax. Most people don't know how to consciously rest. People don't even know deep, deep rest. What we associate rest and relaxation with is mostly numbing, being on our phone, watching TV, doing nothing, sitting on the couch. That's not relaxation. That's numbing, and that's just being in a low energy state. Right? Nothing wrong with having not a lot of energy. That happens all the time. You get tired, for example, but that's not real relaxation and rest. Real relaxation is a high energy state, and it's a conscious slowing down and easing into the moment, releasing unnecessary tension in the body, learning how to consciously regulate the nervous system. This is real relaxation and rest. So I recommend kind of just experimenting with that. Try it out for yourself, see if I'm right, or if I'm dead wrong. You'll probably find out that I'm right. The body is always in the present moment, and learning to feel it again is one of the most direct and powerful ways to return to life. So again, a core element of what's going on here, why we're numbing ourselves, is because we want to escape what's going on in the present. Something's true in the present. We don't want to feel it. We don't want to feel the emotional consequences of it. We don't want to see it. We don't want to integrate it. We don't want to do anything about it. So we want to escape. And the body is always in the present. The body returns us to things that are very essential to what's going on in this moment. The body and sensing into the energy, right? Being attuned to life, not being reactive, regulating the nervous system, slowing down, just being here, not needing to push or pull on anything. This brings us back to what is the most essential in this experience. So that's it for this video. If you want to get more into this stuff, I recommend checking out my book list. The therapy and healing section is very, very important. And then doing a lot of the practices, doing some mindfulness meditation, learning to just proactively and consciously feel into the body so that you can open it up rather than being always so tense. And this is going to help you to heal a lot of shadow wounding and traumas that are essentially kind of just controlling you. They're controlling your life in the background without you even recognizing how they're doing this. So I also do one-to-one coaching. You can apply to do that. Link is in the pinned comment and the description. That's it for this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you do this kind of work, you're incredibly courageous and brave. Thanks for watching.